And all three of us sat there looking at it looking at us, it looking at us, looking at it looking at us for probably a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. And we said, that was really cool, thank you.
My name's Mel Skahan, and I'm an enrolled member at the Yakima Nation, and I have an event to share that happened to both me and my partner right here, and it blows my mind when you continue doing this and the type of communications that they want to have with you as you grow with them.
And I'm DJ Guillen, and I was part of the encounter and love to share it with you.
This happened this summer in 2025, and I decided to continue with helping other folks gain knowledge and respect and tell them how to go down that correct path. And when you go down that correct path, the experiences that you will encounter will solidify that there's just more than the oral communication that they share with you. There's them trusting you by doing a body scan if they want to make sure that you know who you are, your intentions. The event that we're going to share is something along that lines where when we were out on a night walk on a expedition, we got together and an area that we've never been into, and I always, when I take people out, give them the talk, and that they don't have to be afraid. That when we go out there, and if something does happen, just continue on with what we're doing, and let them, dictate if they want us there or not. And so as we were out, there were 3 of us, and DJ here was one of the 3. I was the second, and when we walked, I gave him the instructions. I said, if anything happens, just continue on with our normal voices, and the person that went through the experience just explain to everybody else what happened. And then if anybody else was there to confirm it, then you chatter back and forth, but there's no pointing, there's no running after, just continue what we're doing. And so the first communication that we had with them was a wood knock. And so I let them know what I had heard, and we're still walking, and I'm letting them know what I had heard and had asked if anybody else had heard it. And as we continued our walk, then a whistle was heard off in the same direction off to our left, and that was the direction that the wood knock came from as well. And so we talked about that as we continued to walk, and because I knew that they were going to follow us and continue to learn who we were. And so we get to this point in the road where we ended, and we're standing in a circle, all 3 of us, and this complete darkness. We didn't use any light, and that was one of my instructions, that we're not going to point any lights, point any fingers. And as we're standing there, I start getting this buzzing, this tingling sensation, which I usually do. They let me know that they're there. I started experiencing that, and I let them know that, hey, they're here, he's here. And then I let them know what was going on, that the tingling, the buzzing was happening to me, and then it went from the head down to the rest of my body. And then when that happened, as I was going through this, the person directly across from me said he was starting to feel that as well. And so had him describe what he was feeling, where it was coming from, and so he was talking about that, and then mine was starting to subside when the second person was going through it, and then DJ hadn't felt anything yet, but 30 seconds later, then DJ says, "Oh, there." Surprised because the other two have never experienced this before, and it's like, "What is that? Where's that coming from?" I said, "Well, they're just letting us know he's here." And so mine had gone away. Then our second person, his started to fade, but DJ was still going through it. And then it took a while for that for them to stop, and then and so we talked about it for a little bit, and then I pulled out a thermal and I pulled out a Gen 3 monocular, and I gave it to both of them, and they started looking around. They had never looked through anything like these two pieces of machinery. And then when DJ had the thermal, he started looking around, and then behind me and to his right, then as he was going around, then he saw something that he didn't see on his first turnaround of the spot. And then he's looking and he's trying to figure out what he's looking at, and he calls me over, and it's about a 2-inch screen that we can view. It's not a binocular or anything like that. And so he's laying it flat, and I come over, and we're looking at it, and then you could see the head. You could tell it was standing. Part of him was standing behind a tree, because we only saw the left side. We saw the head, saw the shoulders, and then saw the hand wrapped around the tree. And so we're looking, and then DJ is like just floored by the technology that we had at that time to be able to have this event. And so we're staring at it, and I said, this thermal doesn't take great pictures because it's got a capture on it. And I said, let me grab my phone, and I hovered my phone over the piece, and then we've got photos of what was there. And then that was an absolutely great night to be able to have, because it was the first time that I've ever seen him on thermal on my own. And DJ, this was his first time ever being out in the woods at night, and but that is my part of the story, and DJ will fill you in on what he was going through.
I'm going to go back a little bit. Was at an expedition north of Trout Lake, Washington, about 20 miles, 30 miles maybe, up into the Gifford Pinchot, very remote, pretty deep. Showed up on a Thursday. There were probably 50 or 60 other people there. We decided that night that 2 or 3 groups were going to go on a night hike. One group was going to stay back at the camp to see if there was anything that they experienced, and one group was going to go out into the forest and just sit down and listen and see what they observed. I was the sit down in the forest guy. So we went out little ways into the woods, found a clearing, just enjoying the night. And the drone from the expedition found us, thought we were something, so hovered over us, for 20, 30 minutes, and kind of put a damper on the evening. And I say that to say this: the next morning we did a debrief. I saw Mel. I recognized him from some videos that I had witnessed. So I went and introduced myself, explained the night before, and he says, "Hey, let's get outside of camp tonight." I said, "Oh, great! I've got a truck. We can go wherever you want to go. Let's get outside of camp." He says he got a topographical program, took a look at different areas that might be good, and he said, let's try this place. So that evening, the 3 of us jumped in my truck and took off a couple miles outside of camp. Found the Forest Service road that we were gonna go on. Oh, let me go back. Mel's instructions were that, hey, these are people, and this is their neighborhood. And if you're going to go into somebody's neighborhood and walking around at night, you probably introduce yourself. You're not going to shine flashlights in their windows or run at them or do anything crazy. If you hear anything, don't freak out. We're going to talk in normal voices. We're certainly not going to sneak up on them, find them, trick them. So let's just see what happens if we act like they're our neighbors. So we take off down this Forest Service road, which is a narrow Forest Service road. There's debris hanging off to the sides, but we're beating the brush, making through pretty good. It's very dark. You cannot see through the first layer of trees to your left or to your right. And we finally come up on an area where there's a big fallen log, can't go any further. This is the end of the road. This is where we're going to get out. So we gear up, we get out. Mel introduces himself to the locals. And I introduce myself to the locals in my head, and we step over the log and we start our walk down this Forest Service road. You could kind of see your feet because it was just getting real dark, but if you looked up, you could see the difference between the color of the sky and the top of the canopy of the trees. So you had an idea of which direction you were going, but no lights. We're just talking about the day and the night and, the drive and whatever, just having a good time walking along. We get about a quarter mile. The three of us get about a quarter mile down the road, and Mel says, "Tree knock off to the left-hand side." But no, didn't hear it. The other guy with same situation, he hadn't heard it, but Mel says, "Hey, they know we're here. We're into it." So we continue to talk and walk and get another quarter of a mile, and I hear loud human pursed lip whistle off to my left-hand side, clear as a bell, exactly what it was. I said, "Mel," he goes, "Yes, whistle off to the left-hand side." I'm like, "Yes, somebody else heard it." Yeah, and I heard it, and he says, "Yeah, they're just checking us out. They're letting it know that we're here. Let's keep going." So we walk maybe another half mile. You're not hearing anything into the forest off to either side, and the road wise. And where the road wise, the canopy's obviously much more open. You can see the sky. We thought, hey, this is a good place to stop. So we stop, and the three of us are talking about, again, the night, the stars, and the walk, and the whistle, and the knock, and everything's going great. And Mel says, "Hey, I think I'm getting buzzed or zapped, or I'm not sure exactly what the term was." And I knew what that was because we had discussed it having happened to him before. And Kirk, the guy next to me, says, "Yeah, I'm feeling it too. It's coming up my back and this." And I thought, well, what's going on? So and no sooner did that than I started feeling it, wave after wave of energy pulsing, intensifying, reducing, and it just kept going. It was unmistakable. I think we all sat there in, just amazement that at least I was amazed that it was happening, and slowly it subsided from Mel, it subsided from the other guy, and it was still going with me. I thought, oh, they're great, they're checking me out, pretty good. So we that goes away, and we're all sitting around again, still talking about how great of a night in that experience was wonderful. And Mel hands me a night vision scope, and I take the night vision scope and I do a slow 360 around the entire area that we're standing in. It's cool. You can see the difference between the trees and the ground, and if you look up in the sky, it's really cool looking. And do a slow 360, and I didn't really see anything, but it was great. So I handed the scope off to the other guy, and Mel hands me the thermal. Now the thermal is about the size of a cell phone, maybe a little bigger, a little thicker, and with a screen on the front. And I hadn't used one like that before, and so I started doing the same thing, a slow 360-degree turn around the area. And it was really cool because you could see the different heat signatures, different between the trees and the rocks. And if you looked at the top of the trees, you could see the canopy is a different color because the heat dissipating or whatever. But didn't really see anything. Did like I said, a slow 360 panning everything around. And I thought, oh, this is so fun. And the other guy's looking at the scope. I said, I'm going to do it again. So if I'm at 10 o'clock looking at this, I get to about 12 o'clock and I see a big heat signature, a big yellow-orange heat signature on the screen. And, trying to figure out exactly what it is I'm looking at, and I'm looking. There's a head. There's a head. There's an eye, an ear. You can see it peeking out beside it, around a tree. You can see where the tree line is. You can see another little tree off to the side, but you can definitely see an ear, shoulder, arm, fingers, clearly defined. And I don't want to move, but Mel, come here, take a look. And so Mel walks over and goes, hey, hang on. I said, well, what do I push? How do I go? What do I do? And he said, no. So he takes his camera out and takes a picture of the screen itself, a few pictures of the screen itself. And all three of us sat there looking at it looking at us, it looking at us, looking at it looking at us, for probably a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. And we said, that was really cool, thank you. We turned around and walked back to the truck. And I tell you that, this is 180 degrees different than any experience I envisioned before. I thought I'd be scared, I'd panic, I'd wet my pants, I'd drop dead. Who knows what was going to happen, but everything from the tree knock to the whistle to being hit with infrasound, ultrasound, energy, whatever you call it, was so calming. We didn't sneak up on anything. It appeared before us and allowed us to sit there and look. It was a huge paradigm shift in the way that I looked at the how exploring would go. And we walked back to the truck, and next morning gathered another group up, came back, cut the log out of the road so we didn't have to walk so far, and took measurements, took a look at the lay of the land, got pictures of everything. The top of the head, based on the heat signature and the branches that we had caught in the pictures, was 7'4", and didn't see any disturbance on the ground or anything of that nature. But and then again that evening came back with more thermal gear and thermaled the entire area again to make sure that there wasn't some strange something that might have caused it. But
yeah, there was nothing there.
Nothing.
Next time.
Absolutely nothing. It's
Yeah.
a
So
dark forest, and so that was it.
Yeah, so what we got to view that night was just there at that time we were there. And then, like you said, when we went back and then did the scan again, there was nothing standing in that location to cause that same type of heat signature that we saw.
Everybody has their own technique. For me, and just listening to Mel was real fruitful. So I can't see myself out there banging and yelling and flashing lights and army crawling through the bushes or setting up tree stands or something like that. I mean, that may work for some folks. Just the impression that I got is that these people, you're not sneaking up on them, you're not surprising them, and it was an honor to actually have them allow themselves to be seen. I suppose folks catch them by mistake or something like that, but for the experience that I had, it was not random. They flat made the decision, okay, these folks seem like they're all right. And they checked us out, we checked them out, and so that would be the big difference. I can't wait to get back into the woods because it feels like they know me now. And they know that I'm cool and not going to do anything crazy, and maybe I'll get another experience like that.
Yeah, he's one of Mel's friends.
Yeah, that's right.
I have been through other events during this outing, and trying to get everybody to leave this world and enter a nice, more calming atmosphere. That's why we go to the woods. And that's the teachings that I have with people that want to learn and to know. And there have been other events that during that weekend that I shared with people. And when they would have that, when this person had this particular event, she went home, and then what the exercise that I had her do there when she got home was a card with a tree on it. And this was the exercise that I did with her to make that connection. And she felt really bad because she would call him Bigfoot, Sasquatch, And what she was told by them on her own was that we prefer forest people. And so she felt really bad. She would come back crying, and I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "You know, it's a learning experience. It's an education to get to know them." And I said, "You're advancing, and so prepare for." And she's back east. I said, "Prepare for more events in your area because now they know who you are." Having a first-time person to go through this type of experience and having a teacher. I didn't see myself being in this role early on, but now as I'm communicating in different ways with them, I need to share this with people, and I can't overshare with the folks because that's what I was told. And but having to put people in the right area, walking down the right spot, right path, then that's my teachings for everybody else.
For me, I'd say, I've always steered away from the woo part, rocks and crystals and feathers and stuff like that were not my thing, and not that they're part of this either, but I'm definitely more open to, these beings have abilities that we don't understand, and that we haven't experienced, and where that ends, I don't know, what other, abilities do they have that maybe we could have, or that we, who knows, so that's all I say. I'm much more open to, my mind's much more open now.